His Excellency Bello, Governor of Kogi State, joins us this morning on the outcome of the APC National Convention. Good morning, Your Excellency, and thanks for joining us this morning. Let me begin with your constituency, especially concerning this convention, and that is women and people living with disabilities. I mean, it's no coincidence that you are our guest this morning because it was Mothering Sunday yesterday. In terms of that, maybe we should begin from there. I mean, what's your assessment of, first of all, the role that women play in politics generally?
Thank you. Good morning, my brothers. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning to viewers across the world. Let me start by acknowledgement of my mother, Haji Hawa Ojo Bello, of blessed memory, who tutored me and mentored me and brought me to where I am today. May your soul continue to rest in peace. And I congratulate every mothers across the country and across the world, and all of our sisters and daughters. Of course, our wives not excluded. From my constituency, which is not just women and people living with disabilities, including youth and younger generation, our role is very important in democracy, in our party, and in ensuring good governance across board. And by the special grace of God, like from my state, we're doing our best to ensure that everyone is included. And of course, you can see our party from this convention and moving forward, you are seeing the inclusion of women, people living with disabilities, and of course, younger generation in party politics and in governance. Thank you.
Okay. Well, perhaps also good to even assess the role that women have played in this just concluded convention of the APC, contentious as all the issues that predated it, is. What's your assessment of their role and especially the outcome of it all and the impact that your committee played to bring it to the outcome that we have today?
Okay, thank you very much. The role of women, like I said, can never be overemphasized. In this particular convention, and of course within the party, they played a significant role in ensuring that the organization, the conduct, and the result we are having today are superlative. Mr. President laid the foundation, the women followed, the younger generations followed, people living with disabilities followed. And of course, in my own committee, which is the security subcommittee of the convention, we did not underestimate the numbers, the hype, the enthusiasm, and various concerns of members and even Nigerians towards this particular convention. So we were proactive enough to ensure that all tensions are calmed, take effective control of the security situation long before the convention, during the convention, and after the convention. Everything played out, and we had a fantastic event. And thank God, the outcome is what you have just played and Nigerians have watched. To the admiration and to the glory of God, to the admiration of Nigerians and people around the world, and to the glory of God Almighty, we have a solid, firm, and a winning team in our party today.
Before this convention, we hosted a program on politics today where so many people, a good number of people still believe that there was a lot of rift, a lot of displeasure, where it was expressed when my colleague Seun Kimbaloye hosted a number of people on his program. Do you think this convention, the outcome so far, has put pay to all the agitations and all the displeasures that were expressed before then?
If the agitations were not laid to rest, or the concerns were not laid to rest, or even addressed, you would have seen a rancorous convention. There are several concerns, agitations, expectations, and that should be expected from a large party like ours. Of course, today we have over 41 million members with their PVC as members of our great party, and this is a party to beat. So, such concerns will always be expected. But you can see the way and manner we conducted ourselves in the convention. Very, very joyously and elaborately, we conducted the convention, and everybody, those who needed to step down in the interest of the party, in respect for our leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, all of that took place, and by the special grace of God, we have a very successful convention. So, to a large extent, all of those concerns have been addressed, and that is why we had such a successful national convention. And I can assure you that our party is stronger than ever before. Like I said, that we're going to come out from this convention stronger than a diamond, and that is how we are today as a party.
You said APC has more than 41 million members. Is there a register to confirm that?
Surely. The party's record is there, state by state. In fact, ward by ward, local government by local government, zones by zones, and at national level. I mean, state by state. So, the register is there as I speak with you now, and I want to believe the records are even swelling by the day.
And I think a good way to test that will be in the coming elections. I mean, the least your party's presidential candidates should get, I mean, judging from that particular register you have, should be 41 million. I mean, it's only fair to have that. But let's get into the outcome of this convention. I mean, it's been a long time coming, since from last year. In fact, from the 6 months, the original tenure of the CECPC, it was meant to be a convention planning committee. It was pushed, and finally it has happened. But with the outcome, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, whom a lot of people, rightly so, have said is very experienced, with his emergence as the national chairman of your party, incidentally, he's from the North Central. So how does that make you feel as a governor of a North Central state, first?
First of all, I chaired the committee that mobilized over 41 million members, women, youths, people living with disabilities from within the country and outside the country into this party. I want to assure you that with the right candidate, I can assure you we will not score less than 41 million in the next general election at presidential level, and then win every other election that's just going to come up. Yes, the CECPC was set up like the chairman of the CECPC, as he then was, Governor Mayor Malabuni said, a child of circumstance. And by the special grace of God, we appreciate God Almighty, we appreciate our leaders, starting from President Muhammadu Buhari, and all the party members, leaders, and stalwarts who showed cooperation and understanding, because the enormity of the challenges at hand required that we show such understanding, and eventually it has paid off by bringing on board men of character, quality, experience over time to manage the affairs of our party. So the challenges and the time it took, worth it, especially having this kind of solid convention and a solid party. Now, the chairman from North Central, His Excellency Senator Abdullahi Adamu, is a father. He is from North Central, not by his own choice, but by God's divine way. I am from North Central as well. Not from by my choice, but that is where we found ourselves. The choice of Senator Abdullahi Adamu is necessitated by circumstance as well. The situation the party found itself required a man with requisite experience knowledge, and I'm sure you know, that Senator Abdullahi Adamu is not a man of today. He has been around, and he's still around. He has the experience of managing humans and their egos and understandings. So his choice is necessary. It is not by geopolitical zone that should settle the matter. The choice of Senator Abdullahi Adamu could have come from any part of this country, but his choice is to ensure that the party is cohesive, strong, and solid. Now, that did not in any way, or will not in any way impede on my running for the presidency of this country. I am eminently qualified as a Nigerian, as a party member, and by the special grace of God, on a level playing field, which I know our parties stand for. I will run, and I am confident that my party will give me the chance to fly the flag of our great party come 2023, to ensure that these 41 million members of our party, and even more, those from other political parties, will ensure that we become victorious come 2023 by the special grace of God.
So you're saying that your party, the APC, is ready, willing, and able to field a chairman from the North Central and a presidential candidate, not just from the North, but from a North Central zone of the country?
What we require, what Nigerians require, what the party needs, first is a competent, committed, smart thinking and smart acting candidate who will turn the fortunes of this country around, irrespective of where he comes from. We have seen turn-by-turn presidency in this country, and we have seen the result in the past. What the party requires, what Nigerians require, is who will come and give that hope. That man who will come and build the bridge across the fault lines: religion, ethnicity, tribe, class, and who will get things done. Who will build on the achievement of President Muhammadu Buhari, who will not return back to the years of misadministration or maladministration or mismanagement of resources. What the party requires now is smart, vibrant, younger generation to take over the mantle of leadership in this country. And I believe I represent that particular generation.
Well, that's understood, Your Excellency, but let's take a look at this clearly. In the build-up to the National Convention, your party came out to say, well, we have zoned the chairmanship and all of the positions to this certain region. In fact, the arrangement was to have a swap. So all, you know, the offices that were occupied by a certain region swap, and that's how we had, or we are now having, this current NWC, because there was a zoning arrangement which your party essentially stamped and said, this is how we're going to move forward. So yes, competency on one hand, but then your party actually chose to zone and swap. So will it make, let me just say, political sense to still have a chairman from the North Central? Yes, competency, I mean, nobody puts a doubt to the competency of the current chairman, but it was zoned. So have that in the North Central, and also have a presidential candidate from the North Central zone. Will that make political sense as an active player in that landscape?
Thank you very much. You see, let me be very honest and factual and straightforward. The choice of Senator Abdullahi Adamu necessitated the remaining zoning of the political offices. Senator Abdullahi Adamu have been spotted by the wise man in this party, by the founding fathers of this party. They have seen a man who will fix and hold the party together. And as such, we have to rationalize other positions around him. Simple. That comes about issue of zoning. Secondly, the issue of presidential choice by the special grace of God, after my emergence, every other zoning arrangement or other arrangement will sort itself out naturally, just like what you saw at the Eagle Square day before yesterday, up till yesterday. That is going to take place to the admiration of Nigerians, and Nigeria and our party will work. Thank you.
So zoning is one arrangement. Then there is consensus. Do you see yourself being the consensus candidate for the APC?
By the special grace of God, we are going to pass through democratic process. Consensus is part of it. Voting is part of it, or whichever way. But I am confident by the special grace of God that whichever way you go by, our party will come up the best by electing me as the flag bearer of the APC.
Malque?
Well, Your Excellency, you've done quite a bit in terms of defending, the outcomes of the convention which we witnessed here in the Federal Capital Territory. But there are big questions waiting to be answered. You look at the front pages of the dailies, and a lot of them are talking about how the PDP has taken over the leadership of the party. For some, they question the age of the leader of the party. The president has talked about how he regrets not being a young man or being younger than he was when he took over, took over the presidency of the country. And I imagine that speaks to the enormity of the challenges and how he wished he had youth on his side. Interestingly, though, the APC has settled for a 76-year-old to take them through the 2023 elections. Do you think that he has, and when you look across the average age range of the leadership of the party, there are questions as to whether or not the APC understands the enormity of the problems facing Nigerians and the stamina needed to be able to resolve the problems. How do you defend your party on that?
Party administration is different from governance generally, that is especially a diverse nation as Nigeria. In party politics, you require a high level of experience, patience, tolerance, and you should have historical memory of evolution of political processes or experience in this country. And distinguished Senator Abdullahi Adamu fit perfectly into that position. Governance of the nation is completely different from party administration. At national level, Mr. President thankfully admits his limitations, and he's a man that is very open with his integrity. He wouldn't miss word. And that is why this time around, APC and Nigerians will get it right by ensuring that a vibrant, smart, young presidential candidate emerge, who will give hope to younger generation, who will give hope to women, who will give hope to Nigerians generally, who will build the bridge across all the fault lines. And that is what, by the special grace of God, we shall go for in 2023 presidential race.
You know, I chuckled a bit when you talked about who will give hope to women, because in the last couple of months, at least since the 1st of March, it was still in March, interestingly, the National Assembly gave Nigerian women a shocker. And your party has been silent on that particular instance. I do recall at the convention, women leaders, or the woman leader coming out with other women ministers. And some people will say that's the smallest crowd of women leaders we have seen in a very long time from a political party. It's been silence on the part of the APC in terms of what has transpired at the National Assembly. It's been silence in terms of 35% affirmative action. Your party hasn't quite said a lot about women. in terms of what they have up their sleeves for them?
We thank God in the remarks of our brother, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who, did promise that they are going to revisit that. We take it in good faith that that is going to happen. But let me tell you, it is still a hangover that was inherited from PDP. It is not just an APC issue, I must admit, frankly. However, you ask myself, how far have I gone as far as inclusion of women in my government back in Kogi State? That speaks volume. And I don't even need a legislation to have shoot even beyond the 35% affirmative action for women inclusion in governance. So we're going to bring that on board by the special grace of God. And I can confidently say that our party this time around is poised to ensure that women are included in the elective positions come 2023.
Aren't you a little embarrassed by that? I mean, yes, indeed, I know that Kogi State has done pretty well as a state, but are you a bit embarrassed by the fact that at the national level, your party hasn't quite done much, hasn't quite done as much as it could do? You talked about a hangover from the PDP era. In the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, at least in his cabinet, he was able to reflect, as a matter of policy, a 35% affirmative action. Not in President Buhari's cabinet have we seen that, and not even when the APC has majority in the National Assembly have we been able to see a vote for women. You spoke about the Speaker of the House. It's been dead silence from the Senate President as we speak. Is it that there's been no consideration or there's been no meeting amongst the leadership of the party, who are obviously men, that something needs to be done in that direction?
Well, I would rather say I am concerned, not just, for party, for my APC. Look at every other states that are being governed by PDP as well. How many women legislatures do they have in their, assemblies or by appointment, and what have you? So it's a general concern, and I am concerned as a matter of fact, and that is why we, women in their numbers, are agitating, supporting, and putting themselves together to support the candidature of GYB come 2023. I am really concerned about all of this. I must be very honest, but the word embarrassment, because elected position is different from appointment. In my state, you knew the position we gave, or we allowed for elective, for election in Kogi State. But at national level, I think by the special grace of God, when we mount the leadership of this country, all of this will change by the grace of God.
Well, Your Excellency, we have to take a break now. When we come back, we would look at the projections for your party in terms of how it intends to manage the contending interests. So far, so good. Your party seems to have favored the consensus option. There are questions as to whether or not it will be able to survive, a proper elections, as it were, if it were to go into one for the primaries, which is scheduled to come up very soon. We'll be taking that up when we come back after this break. Please stay with us. Well, we're still taking on the aftermath of the convention of the All Progressives Congress, which happened over the weekend and has produced a new leadership for the party. Our guest this morning is His Excellency Governor Bello of Kogi State. Just before we went on break, I was talking about how your party seems to have favored the consensus option. It was a matter of controversy in the new Electoral Act, how the president had to persuade members of the National Assembly to include the options of indirect primaries and also consensus as an option. And it looks like your party favors that particular option more. But looking at the various interests, the various contending interests within your party as we speak, we know that no less than at least 5 to 6 people have declared their interest in the presidency of this country, yourself inclusive. How do you think your party is going to weather the storm because some people see a storm coming, in terms of managing this different interest in such a way that all of them are able to accept the outcome of whatever process your party will choose to adopt?
Thank you. The option of consensus in our party and or in the Electoral Act is born out of the fact that we always ensure that whenever there are these kind of contentious issues within a party, I mean, you can see in the convention, nobody was forced. Nobody was forced to step down for another. It was a general agreement, but those who agreed to step down, and they stepped down. And those who did not agree went through the normal process of election, of balloting, and those that were emerged through that emerged. That is when in democracy you allowed for options. You allow for various ways of selecting your leadership, and that is exactly what Mr. President, tried to, put in the Electoral Act, and then the National Assembly allowed it. We appreciate him for that. For the presidential contest and various other elective contests into national offices or states, it's a different ballgame. I can assure you that we shall pass through a democratic process that is going to be generally accepted by all members of the party and Nigerians. And when we get to the bridge, by the special grace of God, I can assure you we are going to cross it very fluent and efficiently and effectively. And every member of the party will be satisfied at the end of the day. I can assure you that.
May I ask you, Your Excellency, you are also a contender. What mode will you favor? What mode will you prefer?
As a contender, I am not afraid of any election. I am not afraid of any mode whatsoever. My party, as it is being constituted today, is a party of conscience. It's a party that deserves or that wants the best. It's a party who wants to win election. It's a party who wants to continue to build on the successes of Mr. President. It's a party that wants smart governance, a right-thinking person, a man who is going to build bridges across the country, who will surmount all the challenges we are facing today. And a process that is going to emplace such a person, will be acceptable by myself and every other members of our party and the contestants. So, whether consensus, whether by any other arrangement, I know surely, I have that strong belief, trust, and confidence that our party will choose the best process that is going to emplace a winning ticket by the grace of God.
Right. So amidst all of this, internal politics, build up to the 2023 elections, who will emerge, the party's flag bearer, there's still the big question of governance. And a lot of Nigerians have had, 6-7 years to evaluate your party across levels, presidential and states. And I would like to focus on your state in particular now, since you have the ambition to run for president. And one of the issues I'd like to focus on is on wages. Okay, so the president signed that minimum wage law in April 2019. And he took the NLC in its New Year message to name Kogi State as one of the states still lacking in the implementation of a new minimum wage. Well, not new anymore, since it was signed in 2019. And in fact, there were threats of going on strike and all of that. And then in February, there was an announcement that, your government had approved the implementation. I recall the Secretary to the State and the Deputy Governor speaking about that. The question will be, why did it take 2019, 2020, 2021 before the full implementation of a 30,000 naira minimum wage in Kogi State?
Between the time the NLC or the workers began to agitate and all the processes it took before Mr. President signed the minimum wage into law, consider that. And between the time it was signed into law and the various states, or the time it took us before the January statement of the NLC, and February, when we started implementation. Juxtapose it. It wouldn't just take agitation or the statement from NLC for we in Kogi State to start implementation. It is a work in progress. In Kogi State, we follow due process in everything we do. We consult. We ensure that everybody is carried along. We compare our income, both generated and the envelopes we receive, and the general well-being of all of the citizens of Kogi State into consideration before we now start implementation. So we in Kogi State don't wait, or my administration don't wait for agitation before we act. It has been proved in several of our policies and programs that we've implemented in Kogi State. So let's put that to rest. Issue of minimum wage in Kogi State has been in place. Despite the dwindling resources, we are trying to cope with that.
The question, Your Excellency, is this. Why did it take almost 3 years to implement that? Don't forget, through this period, 3 years, 2019, 2020, 2021, prices of food items, cost of living was rising steadily. So why did it take your state 3 years, almost 3 years, to implement that minimum wage? That's the question, essentially.
I assumed office when the economy was in recession. Just pulling out of recession, the unfortunate COVID-19 struck. Remember, from the bottom up, we are ranking about 30, if not lesser in terms of resources that we met on ground and that we are generating. So within this period, struggling to ensure that what equally affects the life and the well-being of Nigeria, Kogi citizens, are taken care of. And like I said, it's a work in progress. And the workers are carried along, the leadership of the NLC are carried along all the time. And as such, by the time we conclude the process, we have to now start implementation. So, looking at all the challenges and all the hurdles that we have to contend with in the state, it took us that long to be able to arrive at a workable, solution for our workers.
Your state has always spoken about, how in terms of FDI announcement, your state attracted a lot. So it beats the mind that amidst all of that, big talk about Kogi State attracting a lot of foreign direct investment, or at least in terms of announcement, you still had challenges in raising revenue to meet that need, and it took almost 3 years. So what exactly happened? Is it a disconnect between getting those investment to come to fruition, or indeed those investments came to fruition, but it didn't quite raise the needed revenue for the state? What exactly happened? Because it's important to tell the people of Kogi, especially the civil servants, so they're on the same page with government.
You don't plant a maize today and expect to harvest it tomorrow. You don't plant yam today and expect to immediately start harvesting. It took a gestation period. The period of foreign direct investment and other investors coming into the state requires a lot of time for it to begin to yield dividend or yield result. Remember, we met virtually nothing on ground in terms of infrastructure, security, and even preparatory ground for all of these investors to come on board. So when they came, it took us time. It's taking them time to settle down and, before we begin to feel the dividend in Kogi State. Despite that, we have done excellently well in ensuring that their investments are safe, secured. That is why we continue to have them. In the next few moments from now, we will continue to have the maximum impact that we require in Kogi State.
Your Excellency, if I may, let me quickly put in this question. I'm sure that by now you'll be used to the fact that pundits will be writing about the convention and what transpired, apart from the back and forth that will go on between political parties. Now, one of the pundits who has even run on the platform of your party, I'm sure you know him, Dakuku Peterside, has this to say. He talked about how there was no discussion at the APC convention on the situation in the country, no discussion about the ideological underpinnings and policy direction of the party or how to deliver dividends of democracy to Nigerians. He goes on to say that the fundamental tenets of democracy, freedom to choose candidates, individual conscience and conviction, dictating the choice of candidates and competition among candidates to demonstrate capacity and abilities for which they will get votes in the quest for positions in the party administration, were all sacrificed for the stability of the party, marked by political horse trading, high-wire intrigues, reign of the oligarchs, and permutations. He says the situation was no different from what happened under the PDP. I don't know how you respond to this, but this is basically the reading of even somebody who is within your political party. How do you then say that you're different from the main opposition, the PDP, which was the change which you promised when you came in 2015?
That is one opinion out of over 41 million members of our party. Just one. Even though I respect my brother, the Kuku Peterside, Peterside also. I respect his opinion very well, and every opinion matters in APC. But let me tell you, the difference was well witnessed in this particular convention. And you know what? In 2014, PDP went into a convention of this nature. They left the convention divided, scattered. Now, despite all the permutations and agitations, concerns, and putting all the words, all the English together by Peterside, we went into this convention and we came out stronger. So that is a great difference between APC and PDP. It means we have our own way of resolving internal squabbles or agitations. Nobody was forced to withdraw for another. It is out of personal conviction.
The question is about the policy. I mean, how this is going to... Your Excellency, if you can hear me, the question is about how this affects the direction of your party, considering all that is currently going on around the country. Today, as you know, we have an energy crisis. I mean, the price of petroleum products are shooting through the roof. We're still not refining our own product, and we have an electricity crisis on our hands. Many parts of the country are still in darkness. Businesses are groaning. Inflation is at an all-time high. Forex is almost not available. These are the challenges that a lot of Nigerians are currently facing, and one would have thought that what would have been saying also would have been that platform which lets people agitate so that people can see for themselves, perhaps who the best hands will be to, be able to handle these challenges.
Thank you, Mokwe. You see, like I said earlier, party administration is different from governance. Generally, leadership of this country. We needed to have a party that is solid, a party that have conscience, a party that can whip everybody online. And today we have that solid base. And I did say earlier, going into the contest for primaries and the general election, Mr. President himself have always said he contested 3 times and ended up at the Supreme Court. The 4th time, by the special grace of God, God, made him the president, and then 5th time, God made him the president as well of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President is very much aware of this. The party is very much aware of this. People like us are very concerned, and that is why people like us are coming up to help to fix some of these, challenges that we are faced in the country today. We're not happy. We always say that Mr. President have the best of intentions and the best of policies to ensure that over 100 million Nigerians are pulled out of the woods. But sincerely speaking, the truth be told, there are those who are sabotaging the efforts of Mr. President. We must say it. And I know that the process that is going to throw up various candidates, I can assure you is going to be very transparent. Mr. President will not interfere. Mr. President will want the party members to elect those who will be able to win election, who will be able to help in fixing this country. There shall be no imposition, I can assure you that, in the forthcoming general election. So what is important now is let Nigerians begin to tick the boxes. Let the party members begin to tick the boxes if really we want to get out of whatever situation we found ourselves today. Mr. President has done his best, and he will continue to do his best. He wishes us well, and he wants Nigeria to be at its best position ever. And that is why he is ensuring that we have a solid party. Without a solid party, if I had gone into the convention and came out scattered, divided, just like what happened to PDP in 2014, then we won't be talking of who is going to, fly the flag of the party and then win election for us and fix the country. But thank God we have crossed that particular stage. The next stage of who comes on board is just ahead of us now. And it is equally you, the media, and the general public that should begin to shape the politics. You should begin to speak out. You should be able to bring out what you want in leader or in the leadership of this country so that it will shape the decision of our party and who emerge as the flag bearers or the winners of the next general election. We deserve a better country. Thank you.
Well, part of the reason we are actually having this conversation with you, Your Excellency, and aping the question that my colleague Mark just asked you about policies that will help cushion the effects of whatever economic hardship people are facing, is the question of the minimum wage bill signed into law, which my colleague Cardi asked earlier. In Kogi State, for instance, you have spoken to why the delay and all of that. And just about not too long ago, health workers in your state are saying that they've been collecting 30 to 35% of their salaries for the past 2 years. Question then is, have you started implementing the full minimum wage signed into law by the president?
Let me take you from the issue of policies that you're talking of. There has been policies upon policies and programs from inception of this particular country up to this moment. But the executioners, the implementers, that is number one. If you now take it down to the issue of health workers in Kogi State, I want to assure you that whatever you see from the media is different from what is happening practically on ground. And I have always referred the general public to go to our website, visit our online compendium and the Kogi website to see what is actually happening. And let the media be more proactive. Carry out investigative journalism, not any screenshot or doctored payslip that anybody will just obtain and post in the website and begin to distract some few uninformed or uninformed ones of the general public. So let's put that aside. But I want to assure you that our policies of health policies in Kogi State is about the best. And that was why when the world was falling in for issue of the recent pandemic, we fought it head on, and today we've been vindicated. Today in Kogi State, we're putting up the best of structures and health facilities across the state to ensure that we cater for the people. We are recruiting health professionals in their numbers to ensure that we bridge the gap between the health needs of our people, and by the special grace of God, our people in Kogi State are testifying to the best policy and execution that is being undertaken by this administration.
Well, Your Excellency, the second leg of that question is, have you fully started implementing the minimum wage of 30,000 naira in Kogi State?
We have started implementation of full minimum wage of 30,000 naira based on the availability of resources in Kogi State.
Is that to say not everyone in Kogi State is getting 30,000 naira minimum wage?
We practice fairness, equity, and fair distribution of resources amongst all the sectors of the economy in Kogi State. We are open, we are transparent to that effect. Everything we do, not only are we carrying the leadership of the various organizations or associations along, we as well put it to the public almost every month. That is why our website is being updated and upgraded periodically to ensure that these are our receipts and these are our expenditures, so that our people can, judge for themselves. And that is why we are not seeing any agitation whatsoever from Kogi State, because we balanced the utilization of our resources.
So is that, yes, all workers are receiving the 30,000 naira minimum wage, or no, not all workers are receiving the 30,000 naira minimum wage?
Based on the available resources in Kogi State or for Kogi workers and the Kogi State government, we are implementing the 30,000 minimum wage based on the available resources. We cannot subject our state to a heavy burden that will be paid or will not be able to be paid by our children yet unborn. So what we do is to make available make do with the available resources at any given time.
I appreciate your honesty about the resources, but not quite about whether or not everybody's receiving it. And I think, it's important to be clear, Your Excellency. Based on what you said, I'll take it that no, not everyone will receive the minimum wage. Would I be correct?
Yes, everybody is receiving minimum wage, but based on the available resources.
Okay, I guess we can, take that to the bank, as it were, that all workers in Kogi State will be receiving their 30,000 naira minimum wage. But back to the party matter, because it's important to also clear that out. There's been a lot of talk about the emergence of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and I just want to get your thoughts on this one. Yes, you've said that this doesn't affect your chances and all of that, but there's been the conversation around the antecedent of Senator Abdullahi Adamu. So he's been governor in the opposition APC. He's been an executive of the BOT of the PDP as well. He's been a senator. In fact, he's been in the PDP for 15 of the 16 years which your party says that the PDP has destroyed Nigeria for. So does that give credence to the debate about whether or not there's a difference between APC and PDP? Some believe that it's the same. So is this a point for those who believe that APC and PDP are all the same?
Well, before I return here, let me quickly make it point clear that governance is not just revolving around minimum wage. It is a mix of it all. Before now, we have Kogi State that is ravaged by insecurity, poor infrastructure, and divisions along various ethnic lines. And this required a lot of resources, dexterity, and good judgment of the situation and application of the resources to ensure that there's fairness, equity, and balance in the system. So go to Kogi State today. Kogi is far better than the way we met it. And by the grace of God, Kogi will continue to prosper. Now, returning to the party politics, there is a large difference between PDP and APC. PDP crossing over to APC, you meet a different policy, a different environment, and you're bound to follow what is on ground. Anybody that comes into APC today will have to drop the ideology of PDP. That is why we went into the convention and we came out stronger. If they come with the ideology of PDP, probably we would have, left the APC convention ground divided or scattered. His Excellency Senator Abdullahi Adamu, like I said, is an experienced person. It's not just PDP that he has participated. He has been around. He has been a politician from First Republic or Second Republic, as the case may be, up to this moment. The experience gathered over time is what we require from him to help put our party together solidly before going into the general election. And that is going to work for us.
Your Excellency, just one question bothers me, and I've asked this question sundry times on this program. There are those who contend that one of the reasons Nigeria is having its major challenge of, all kinds of challenges is because we have policies of ministries, departments, and agencies that seem to work at variance from time to time. All because, according to many pundits, as Mark said earlier, we don't have a mutually shared vision as a nation. In your opinion, and as someone who is vying for the office of president, what is Nigeria's vision, or what would be your own choice of Nigeria's vision that will put pay to all the perennial myriad of hydra-headed challenges that we have as a nation, that will put all ministries, departments, and agencies working towards one goal of a vision that everyone in the world will know that this is what Nigeria stands for?
Thank you very much. Those who man the various ministries, agencies, and parastatals are Nigerians. That which I am looking forward to is that government or an administration or a Nigeria that take ownership of Nigeria project. That social contract between the people and government, between Nigerians and Nigeria, to see Nigeria as our own it, and bring everything on board to ensure it works. A situation where anybody or everybody or segments of this country would look at Nigeria as a giant or an elephant where you just go and milk, will be put to stop. We are looking forward to a Nigeria where everybody will own it and do everything possible to ensure it works, irrespective of your religion or where you come from. When we have a Nigeria that all of us are proud of, or all of us are ready to sacrifice for, then we're going to have policies, programs, ministries, and agencies working seamlessly for one goal, greater Nigeria. That we are going to pursue in our administration when we come on board. And that, I can assure you, is happening in Kogi State right now.
Well, I guess the conversation has only just begun, Your Excellency. Thank you for your time this morning. Your Excellency, Bello, Governor of Kogi State, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for this opportunity, and looking forward to seeing you or having good times with you all the time. Thank you.
Okay. Well, there is more. One of the issues we've had to contend with, and we asked His Excellency, the Governor of Kogi State, is about security. We're back now to take that on. Stay with us.